When you step foot on the Palm Beach Atlantic University campus, you are witnessing the realization of a dream that began in 1964, a dream that became a reality in 1968 and has grown and strived since. The start of PBA was nothing short of a miracle that stemmed from Dr. Donald Warren and Dr. Jess Moody's passion for creating Christian leaders and their concern about the declining moral state of America.
I described the history the way that it's kind of been passed on to me orally, which is that you had this an initial group of people who got together to support their pastor. Their pastor, who was Jess Moody, had this dream and this vision. I mean, God woke him up in the middle of the night and said, "You need to create this college." And there were a group of men, basically out of First Baptist Church, where Jess Moody was pastor, here in West Palm Beach, who affirmed him and said, "Okay, you want to try to do this, we'll try to work with you to do it."
Jess Moody and I had been talking about what was wrong with the youth of America. It was during the Vietnam War, and they were marching and having their dirty word campaigns, locking presidents into the office, burning up labs, doing things of that nature. We had been discussing education and what was wrong with it, and we wondered why college education was lacking something that the students needed. And we decided that colleges had lost the personal touch with students, that we want to produce those graduates who will improve the moral climate of America.
Their dream was to start a Christian college that would stand apart from other institutions of higher education, which only seemed concerned with stuffing knowledge into heads rather than forming knowledge along with character.
The way that you started Christian colleges back in those days was at state conventions. They would vote to start the school, and then they wouldn't vote to give it any money. So the group that had been formed and was trying to make this thing happen got together for a kind of a final session to disband and decide what to do with the few $100,000 they had raised. And in that setting came into conviction that God didn't call the Baptists of Florida to do this. If he had, the Baptists of Florida would have done it. God didn't call Billy Graham to do this. If he had, Billy would have done it. God called us to do it, and we should do it. Oh, now this is in April of 1968, and they vote to open the doors that fall. I mean, it is nothing short of an absolute miracle that it, first of all, that it stayed alive and didn't die. And so it just takes off from there.
Palm Beach Atlantic opened its doors to its first class in the fall of 1968. Classes were held in the old sanctuary of First Baptist Church, which is now the Lassiter Rotunda in the Warren Library. The building was originally purchased for $1. From the very beginning, PBA had a commitment to service and required that its students take part in a program called Worship through working to serve others. Mrs. Warren and Mrs. Moody, along with volunteers from local Palm Lake Association churches, helped clean, paint, and make small repairs to the houses that would become the dorms for the first incoming class of 84 students.
I announced that we would have a program called Worship, and a student would have to work 5 hours a week or he couldn't come. No matter who he was, no matter whose he was, he could not come unless he'd be willing to do it.
For its first 10 years, PBA struggled to remain afloat. Students endearingly referred to the fledgling college as Make Do You, and it did. The first classrooms were shared by First Baptist Sunday school classes, and on the weekends were literally transformed into children's classrooms. Through generous and sometimes unexpected donations, PBA was able to acquire several buildings in the area, including a small hotel, a number of old houses, the old FP&L building, and the building that used to house the local YMCA. John D. MacArthur, Doc Rinker, Bill Laster, and Helen Weinberg were among the many donors who believed in the dream and gave generously to PBA.
You can go through the history of the institution and just see time after time after time how man tried to do it man's way, and it failed. And ultimately, they come to realize, wait, we do it God's way. And we go with God, and God will bless it and make it to flourish.
And flourish it did. Nearly half a century later, Dr. Moody and Dr. Warren's dream has become a solid reality, that has grown to serve the local community, the nation, and the world through its programs and its over 10,000 graduates. The PBA dream now consists of over 425 full-time employees, as well as adjuncts, student workers, and volunteers. PBA truly has shed its old nickname of Make Do You and has developed at 3 main locations: West Palm Beach, Orlando, and Wellington. Other areas of growth and development include athletics, academics, student population, and cultural diversity. Every member of the PBA staff and faculty family actively contributes to building the character of the students' lives with whom they come in contact.
When people come to college, their life is being shaped in all sorts of ways, far beyond the intellectual aspect. And what we're about in Christ-centered higher education is trying to do that in a holistic way, where we touch life after life after life, and over the years, in silent ways and in very profound ways, through our actions, through our speech, God's at work here.